your cult members, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And welcome to our discussion, reaction, review of the New Year's Eve special for Doctor Who. This one is called the Eve of the Daleks.
Right. New Year's Day special.
New Year's Day special. There's a lot of Eves and days and
Eves.
New Year's and days.
Yes.
Okay, so I have to say it. I thought this was going to be the episode where Jodie left.
Well, yeah.
Sorry, spoilers. But, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think they'd make a... I don't know. I'm trying to remember, like, when Capaldi left and when Matt Smith left, like, whether or not... I'm trying to remember specifically if the BBC kind of played up the fact that this was their final episode. Because I don't ever remember going into an episode going, oh my God, they just changed up. Well, they did, but that was a long time ago.
Right. Well, specifically with Capaldi, I know they did because the last two episodes are him saying, no, I don't want to leave.
Right.
And that's specifically Capaldi saying, I don't want to leave. And Moffat wrote it as such because BBC was making him leave. With Smith, they kind of hinted at, like, this is going to be, like, we knew the new Doctor was coming.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Same with Tennant. With Eccleston, we really didn't necessarily know that he was not coming back. It was after everything had happened, kind of...
Right. I'm just thinking, I mean,
yeah.
we have known, but I'm just trying to remember if we knew a specific episode.
Right.
And prior to that episode happening, and I don't know that they've actually gone out of their way to say this is the final episode, but that kind of having this be her final episode would have been a little cheesy. But
I have not liked what Chibnall has done at all.
Yeah,
I have not liked most of anything that he's done. There's been some really good ideas and some really fun processes. The Master stuff was specifically the ones I really like. It would not have been a surprise to me if this was going to be the episode that he decides how to end it.
Yeah.
This was but to be honest, this is a fun one-off.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times the New Year's specials or the Christmas specials are fun one-offs, but sometimes they do connect to everything else that was going on.
Yeah, and sometimes they're not as good.
Dr. Mysterio, although a fun one-off, I never rewatch it.
Yeah.
And I understand what they were trying to do with that one. But I just...
And the one with Matt Smith where he goes to, like, the Christmas planet or whatever and grows old.
Yeah, that one's a little funky. Like, but that's his last episode, and it just kind of... It feels discombobulated a lot. And so... But with this particular episode, the idea of being stuck in a time loop because the TARDIS is being...
Rebooted?
They've been setting up that the TARDIS is leaking ooze and the door's been different places and stuff like that for a while this last season. So I get the reboot of the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Like, I totally get that. But having that loop of them at the self-storage place, the elf storage place, was an interesting... We play with time within Doctor Who, and being stuck in a loop is not something they do very often. It has happened with 1,300 episodes.
Yeah.
It has happened.
Yeah.
But it's not something they play with on a regular basis.
And, I mean, it's not, it's not War and Peace. It's not... people will probably complain that it didn't have any substance to it. It was just them going through the same thing over and over and over again, trying to... And that's fine. It's New Year's Day.
Yeah.
We're all hungover.
Yeah.
We just need to sit under our blankies and watch some Doctor Who for a minute.
Yeah.
And have it be, fun and not super intellectual, I guess.
I like that the resolution was to use the time loop against the Daleks, because the Daleks were using it against them. The Doctor, Yaz, Dan, and then Sarah and Nick
Like Saint Nick.
But I like that the Doctor figured out to use the thing that was being used against them, and I really appreciated like that. I really liked the cleverness of figuring out how to beat somebody with their own thing.
Right. And they had to work together as a team because the first four or five, everybody kept going off and doing their own thing, and then when they did finally okay, we need to work together, they all got killed or zapped or whatever before, and so teamwork makes the dream work.
I like that they addressed that too in the episode with they had a plan. They Sarah specifically asked why the Doctor is the one who keeps having to, this is the one making the plans and stuff like that. And her kind of pointing out, when you had your own plans, it didn't work out either, so let's try it my way. And then when the Doctor decides to change the plan, Yaz was like, but we had a plan. And she's like, just do it. And they paused. They had this long pause of, you know what? We don't have a ton of time. I'm not trying to yell at you. We have to work together, and this is the way we have to go going in this direction. But they made a point of pausing to say, like, we had a plan. We're changing. I have to change the plan because this is the new plan that's going to work, and I'm figuring that out. And when she snapped at Yaz, it really emphasized, at least for me, her not really paying attention to anybody else. The Doctor, that's been one of my main issues with this Doctor. I love Jodie. I think she's been great as the Doctor, but her fam has always been like her sidekicks and not really companions in the journey.
Yeah.
And more than often than not, she was always do this, and even though it's a flat structure and we should all be doing, she always was giving the orders. Mm-hmm. And specifically at Yaz. And so when she finally paused and told Yaz, okay, I understand. I shouldn't have yelled at you. It was my fault. We need to kind of do that. And now it's going to lead to a different conversation we're going to have in a minute. But I just like that scene specifically because they made a point of saying, no, wait, we've done this wrong. Let me go over here. We're going to have a fun talk in a minute. The thing about this episode that I was struggling with for a little bit was it was very Sarah and Nick based and not Doctor based when I thought that this was going to be the Doctor's last episode.
Right. And so I get to understand why that would be a little jarring.
Yeah. And so I really liked ultimately I liked them coming to terms with each other in the we have multiple lives to kind of figure it out kind of thing.
Yeah. I still don't understand. She made the comment that Nick wasn't gonna live
after
5 till or whatever. They never did explain that.
I don't understand.
I don't understand the point of that. And then the whole Jeff thing was a little odd too.
Jeff was like the MacGuffin.
I know. Everything. And he never, and then at the end, when there was the guy standing on the other side of the canal or whatever, and going, oh, is this just for me? I was like, oh, this is Jeff. No,
they didn't really say it.
So it was just, that was a little, Chipnall, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I liked what they were doing with that, like the ongoing joke of Jeff.
Yeah.
It would
have been nice if they'd wrapped it up just a little bit.
And they might have had another thing that they were going to do, but because of restrictions and stuff like that, they had to kind of do him just standing there with his camera phone and one other person filming him kind of thing on set. Right. Or having him show up at the end, driving up, what happened to my building? It would have been.
Yeah. I don't know.
It was just odd.
Yep.
The Daleks on the campaign to get revenge of what the Doctor did by destroying the Dalek fleet again. With the flux. again, showing that the actions of the Doctor has consequences, which she makes a point of saying, my decisions are catching up with me. And so whatever that's going to mean, probably for the 60th anniversary, is where that's going to be the big thing, the big conflict.
Maybe. There's 2 more episodes listed on IMDb.
Right.
And the first of those is just an unnamed episode. I'm assuming they're in show order, like order that they will be seen
I believe
or
so.
aired. So the next one has no title, no information whatsoever. So I kind of feel like if that was going to be the 60th anniversary, they would at least say, it would say 60th Doctor Who 60th anniversary.
Right.
There's no title. There's no
title,
information.
yeah.
And then the next one is the centenary, however they worded it.
Right.
So BBC's 100th anniversary. I expect that unnamed one to be, like, I wouldn't be surprised if we suddenly get an episode in the middle of the year next year or this year. It's
2022 as of like 12 hours ago.
Yeah, that is her goodbye. I don't know. I don't know when the centenary is. If it's this year, if it's next year.
I think it's this fall. I think it's like September, October time period of 2022, I believe.
So they might do that episode. It's just that would be her last episode. They bring in the new Doctor, and then maybe if they're gonna have a bunch of Doctors in the centenary, that Jodie gets to be in that.
They have said that Davies is writing the 60th anniversary episode, and that's when he takes back over. When Davies is doing the 60th anniversary, and then he'll start with series 14 going forward.
But the centenary is not.
But the centenary is something different,
That's
and
the
so
100-year anniversary
I'm
of
wondering
BBC.
if it's going to be a retrospective. Like I just there's too much hanging about with the 60th anniversary, the 100th anniversary, the ending of Jodie. Like, there's too much going on with just, as we sit right now, 2 episodes, and they've already said her TARDIS has been demolished, done. Like, the set is done. The set was taken apart. And she's filmed her final scene.
Right.
So she's done. Like, she'll probably come back for something, but...
Right, but so what I'm saying is, Chibnall does this unnamed next one, which is her departure.
Yeah.
They can have Moffat, Davies, Chibnall, and
Gaddis.
and Gaddis do this. I mean, that makes sense, right? And they could do a retrospective for the century thing. And then, and if they're going to bring a bunch of Doctors back, that could be her final episode that she filmed.
Yeah.
You know, they could have thrown that in anywhere. And then...
Be with me.
And then,
be with me. Rey calling to all the other previous Jedis.
Yeah, okay. We're not all in your head. We have no idea where you're going with that. And then Davies takes back over after that.
Yeah. Okay, we have to talk about it. In the last episode of The Flux, we discussed that I liked the idea of a romantic relationship between Yaz and the Doctor. I like the idea because I like when there's at least a little bit of, I won't say romantic, but feelings, but more extra feelings for one of the companions over somebody else. Amelia had it, even though she was in love with Rory, she still had extra feelings for the Doctor, and with River specifically, and with Rose, and so I like that. And we really haven't had that, but they've kind of hinted at it. Not necessarily like blatantly come out and said it, that Yaz has feelings for the Doctor. Except this episode. Dan they made a point of kind of introducing Nick as this lovable weirdo, and that it's okay to have you want a lovable weirdo in your life. So that was kind of cool to introduce it that way. And then Dan to kind of sit there and look at Yaz and say, just tell her. And then him, as a good friend, saying to the doctor, hey, you need to tell Yaz the way she...
Yaz likes you.
Yaz likes you, and you like her back, and you need to say something. And the doctor kind of just... not poo-pooing it, but definitely, like, pushing it away because she doesn't want to deal with those feelings, which is completely how I saw it. I might be wrong, but that's how I saw it.
I don't know necessarily that she doesn't want to deal with the feelings, but as we just discussed, she is on her way out.
Yeah.
And, she may not necessarily know that in this episode, like as the doctor, they're not necessarily always aware of that they're going, although she's gotten some hints with the last episode and the reverse her kind of saying your time is coming, but she does know that it's going to get a little hairy, and so I think she's more like I have other things to think about, which goes back to your that's how she's been this whole time. I mean, I have several feelings about it. First of all, I don't care. I don't care if we have a lesbian doctor or a gay doctor. I don't care. I feel it would be nice to we talked about this with something else. What did we just... Shang-Chi, when we did our top 10, that I appreciate that Shang-Chi and Awkwafina's character, and I can't remember her name, are just friends, and it's okay, and there doesn't have to be a romantic thing, and I would have appreciated that with this relationship. Second of all, I just don't feel like with all of the other characters that you just named, all the other companions, it was grown into.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say next. They
got there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say next.
This is like, Jodie's doctor has been, like you said, stay over there, I'm the boss, I tell you what to do. And now in her last couple of episodes, we're going to shoehorn in a relationship.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say. As much as I like it when that, like I was saying, there's a companion who has extra feelings for the doctor.
Cool.
As much as I love that, this is 2 seasons too late.
Yeah. And
this should have been the start of season 2.
Yeah.
And although there's been like looks and hints and kind of things or whatever, and even Yaz said in this episode, I haven't even told myself yet.
Yeah.
So I can't tell myself yet. I can't tell somebody else yet.
Right.
And that's Chibnall's first season, and I'm going to stay on this. Chibnall screwed Doctor Who. I love this show, and I love Jodie, but his first season was the political right. If you don't believe this way, then you're wrong, and here's the flag, and we're going to fly in everybody's face. And if you're going to do that, you have to make a decision on which flags you're going to fly. And if you didn't fly, you flew all the flags and picked... And then when you get a chance to actually grow something organically and give us something fun and something that's going to actually have emotional stakes to it, you don't pull that flag out until the last 2 episodes.
Right.
Well, I'm lost. I'm upset.
You could argue that the first season was a lost season of all of this character growth and development that you could have had. There were 3 companions, and that's okay. But they didn't grow any friendship between the Doctor, or I wouldn't say friendship, because she kept, like you said, calling him fam and everything. But it was still always, especially in the first season, she's all crazy because she just regenerated
from an angry Scotsman.
Right. So it's all very frantic and what, and the three of them are just kind of like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. So there was no relationship building there. And then the second season and this season has just been her still holding everybody off, and so
Yaz
now you want to develop a relationship.
Yaz even pointed out in this, stop leaving me.
Yeah.
Like, stop. She, like they even, like, when you use that kind of line in an episode like this where you're trying to set up something, you're almost admitting to yourself as a writer or at least a showrunner to say, stop leaving me is the line that should have been said 15 episodes ago. Oh, we screwed up. We kept her too far to arm's length. It's not like we haven't had the Doctor with romantic relationships before. The fan base would have been fine with it.
Right.
There have been 5 assholes who can't get over there's a woman as the Doctor. But we would have gotten over it if it's laid out correctly, and it just wasn't laid out correctly.
Why are we there now?
Why are we there now? Like, if
leave it alone.
If this is as far as they go, and they leave that hanging Chad of this story, actually, that's an acceptable thing for me.
Yeah.
That we just, not that we just story-wise, is that the two of them weren't ready to get there yet.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And
now,
maybe,
if Yaz stays on, if Mandy stays on and is the companion to the next Doctor, who the next Doctor is, which I'm okay with. I like her as a companion.
Yeah, I do too.
I like her as a companion even because she was a cop and she was trying to find her own way and whatever. If you want to keep her on and have her have mixed emotional feelings for the next Doctor, whoever that Doctor is, then that's a fun story. Like, okay, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's holding a candle or a flame for her old flame.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the Rose story, right? When Matt left and Capaldi came in, and she's like, but
when Tennant left, and when Matt Smith
left and Capaldi came in,
right? But it's not Rose.
Sorry, not Rose.
Clara.
Clara. There
Clara.
You go.
We'll get there. It's too many companions.
Clara, and he's old and eyebrows and all of that,
right.
And so she had feelings for Matt Smith's Doctor, and now he's an old guy.
Right, a crotchety old Scotsman.
Yeah, so they've kind of done that already, but
and if they,
I would probably feel a little better about it if they at least, like, she's regenerating and, I'm sorry or whatever, a little. And still, it's not gonna redeem the last three seasons.
No. Ultimately, I think that's what it comes down to is I've said this in the past. I'll say it again. We never got a Zygote invasion speech or Aquitaine or Never Tell Me the Rules, or we never had that moment with Jodie. And they kind of try,
even a running gag like
Yeah.
Geronimo or the banana or attack eyebrows.
Yeah.
Like, we never, I want to be a ginger. Like, yeah, there's...
It just hasn't... Chibnall was so... Let me back up. BBC was so enamored with the idea of just completely rebooting all of Doctor Who. When they brought Chibnall and Jodie in, they said each individual episode is going to be its own thing. There's not going to be an overall story arc.
That you don't have to have watched Doctor Who before to get it now.
And that's fine. In the second season with the Master, and she made references of when I was a Scotsman, that kind of thing. So they made a point of, like, bringing it back in. But if you're going to do a complete reboot like that, you're going to lose fans like us who are invested with all of the modern Who and a bunch of the classic Who and all the Big Finish stuff and
I don't know what they were. I don't.
Yeah, it's as much as I love this episode, it makes me more upset about how things have done, and which is why we've kind of gone off on this tangent about what ended up happening with this Doctor, this iteration of the Doctor.
Yes.
And I think that's more of what every time we talk about this iteration, the more I'm upset with it because of how it was all handled.
And, this one we did kind of talk about to ourselves, we didn't talk about now, was that this one was a lot funnier than they've been. There was a lot of quippy little, I haven't seen this many fireworks since 1605, and I would do great on Shopper Show, whatever, where you push the
Supermarket sweepstakes.
Supermarket sweeps. And I think that even makes it worse because it's like, the potential, it was there.
And she did it, and they did it with her a few times, but they didn't do it consistently enough. And you have to have a balance of that kind of quippy, fun gag kind of thing, and a obnoxiously overly serious, we're going to deal with big, heavy issues.
Right.
And when you don't really commit either way, Moffat and Capaldi's arc was anti-war.
Yeah.
A lot of what they did was anti-war and proper representation, because they made a point of the final season, like, Bill was gay, and
talking about the Time Lords could be either way, which we knew that meant that the next one was going to be a woman.
But there was a point of that, and you had to deal with that with Smith and Tennant too, because they both were dealing with what the War Doctor did, and so they dealt with anti-war and proper,
Tennant was anger issues.
Anger issues, very much. And Smith was running away from a lot of what happened. But it just, back to you flew all the flags, but none of them like one bigger than others, and that just kind of takes away from it.
Yep.
I like this episode. I think this will be one we go back to, the Groundhog Day time loop kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd watch it again. It's fun.
I would definitely watch it again, but I'm interested in what we're going to get next, and they have not announced the new Doctor. Davies and the BBC have made a point of saying we haven't even started the process yet, which is probably a lie. They have a short list. We listened to a podcast when we drove up to Vegas over the week. Nick Frost was, he's like, I'd do it. And I'm here for it. It's not like we haven't had people who've been on Doctor Who come back play as a doctor or a companion or whatever. Right. And so I just I'm putting my flag in the ground for Nick Frost. It's not gonna happen, but that's
and stop with the Simon Pegg or Benedict Cumberbatch or
Michael Sheen.
Stop with those people. It's going to be, Jodie was, I watched Broadchurch, so I know who Jodie was, but most people in the U.S. did not know who she was.
Right.
Most people didn't know who Capaldi was, so it's not going to be an A-list actor. They're busy.
Yeah. As much as I'd love to see Michael Sheen be the Doctor, and as crazy as that would be, it would just... It couldn't work. I want a Doctor with a 5-7 year run, 5-7 series run, and he's just too busy. He's too good of an actor to have it work. So that is our thoughts on Eve of the Daleks. Let us know what you thought of this episode and our ranting and ravings about Doctor Who in the comments down below. Please be nice. We try to be positive, but sometimes things just annoy the shit out of us. And we have to talk about it.
I love this show, and we're angry when it's not the way that we like it.
It's not okay. It's not that I'm not going to try to stay positive about the show. I freaking cosplay as Jodie. Like, I love Jodie and we're going to defend Doctor Who till our dying breath. But I think there needs to be some honest, true criticism when mistakes were made.
Yeah.
And when you alienate a big part of your audience, mistakes were made. Mistakes
were made. Davies, better fix it.
No pressure. So let us know what you thought. Cut the comments down below. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Follow us on all the social media stuff. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Links are in the description down below. Till the next time, Whovians, it's time for margaritas. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.